NHL drops the puck on a new season January 13th, and Carmine Bianco has you covered with an early bird special of $4.99 for the whole season. But we're going one step better, and you can get every soccer play during the season as well for only $6.99. That's a full NHL season and 6 months of soccer for only $6.99. During the past 3 years, Carmine Bianco has increased client bankrolls by 281% in both sports and is gearing up for another profitable year. This is a limited time offer, so take advantage of it now at WagerTalk.com.
Happy Friday, guys. Welcome back to WagerTalk TV for Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. Today, joined by Carmine Bianco and Dave Cokin. We had 4 games go to overtime or a shootout last night. Connor McDavid scores a hat trick after going scoreless in his first game. And now today, all but one game are repeats of games that we have already seen. And that's just one thing that we are going to have to get used to in this brand new NHL season. Carmine, I'll throw it to you. How was your night last night, and what do you have up right now at WagerTalk.com?
Last night was good. 3-1 night. As I said during the show, there was probably about seven plays that I did like, and 3 of those I gave out on the show with the Islanders, the under in the Detroit game, and I think it was there was another under in there as well too. All 3 of those hit. So NHL's looking good right now, and I'm excited. Tonight, 3 plays on the card in tonight's action. So let's hope for another good night heading into the weekend.
Mr. Dave Cokin, we'll throw it to you. We'll see how you've been doing. I know you've been killing it with football. College football went well for you again, but NHL is back, my friend. Also, I see you got a fancy new chair there, Dave. Looks pretty sweet, man.
It's a nice chair. One of my Christmas gifts to myself. Yeah, college football is just another really good season. 4-year numbers now are just spectacular, and looking forward to next season. College basketball, by the way, I got to mention, I won another best bet last night, and it was an easy winner. A 40-minute cover, Tennessee State, and that's now 10-1 on my last 11 college basketball best bets, and I just posted the best bet for Friday's college basketball. Hockey, I played only 1 game so far. I am kind of wading into the shallow end because, it's been kind of I don't have to go into detail on how strange things have been. Played Calgary last night and blew a 3-1 lead and lost in overtime. I don't think I had the right side. The Flames played well in the first period and got dominated after that by the Jets. So we'll see what happens in the next game. So just 0-1 so far, but we'll have more.
It definitely is a different season for sure, Dave, and we'll look forward to getting your thoughts on the new season, the new format. But happy Friday to everybody out there watching this video. Look forward to giving you guys more information. Don't forget to hit the bell and the subscribe button on the YouTube video and hit the like button to let us know that you enjoyed the video. Before we dive into our first segment, I do have a 5% best bet up for tonight. It only is Friday, day 3 of the NHL. But the run's been great for me dating back to last season with 5% in the NHL. 13-3, my last 16 NHL 5% best bets. This is a situational top total I like, and we have a coupon code for you. Use the coupon code PUCK15 to get $15 off that.
What happened there, guys?
Is it just me, or are we all frozen?
I can
Technology is great when it works, guys, but sometimes it is not cooperative, to say the least. We're happy to be back here with you guys. We'll get right into the games. No more wasting time. The Penguins and the Flyers, our pick and play of the day. Boy, was I wrong with my first play. First NHL game of the season. I had the under in this game. Final score 6-3. Nothing wrong with admitting you had a wrong play, but this one, choppy goaltending, some very skillful plays as well, but I'll start with this. I'm going to throw it to you first, Dave, for your thoughts on this one. I just don't trust the goaltending for the Penguins, and I don't trust their depth of scoring. I think Philadelphia is going to go deep this year. I think they're a strong team, and I'm not going to bet on this Penguins team until I see them win.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on the Penguins goalie situation. Look, Jerry played really well last year, but it's a whole different scenario because he is now the number one goaltender. Last year, he was the guy who was, he wasn't Murray's backup, but he was kind of taking over for Murray when Murray was hurt or struggling. And it was a different situation. And I don't know that he's going to be quite as effective this year with the pressure on him. I would tend to think we're going to see a little bit opposite of what we saw in the first game between these two. Penguins got to tighten it up. Okay. That was a really shoddy defensive performance. And the Flyers, look, when Hart's in goal at home, they don't give up much. 3's a lot for them to actually give up at home. I think you'll see a lower scoring game here. Total 6. They got to get to 7 to beat you. I would lean to the under in this game.
Well, I could have used that last game, but hopefully we get that again here in game number 2 between these two teams. And like I said, it's so interesting. We're going to see so many teams playing each other on back-to-back opportunities, and sometimes the 3 games and 4 nights. So Carmine, I'll get your thoughts here. Again, it's our pick and play of the day. It's -110, -110. Is it a Philadelphia Flyers or nothing?
No, not exactly. And for the guys out there, sorry about those technical difficulties. Apparently, Andrew's 5% play is so good that it blew up the system. With that said, listen, 6-3 first game. I don't think that final score was any indication of how the game played out. We talked about in the first show I talked about the Flyers power play that absolutely deserted them in the playoffs last year with only 4 goals and 52 attempts, having to be better. And they get 2 goals in that first period on the power play. Listen, it's these first 2 weeks, I've said it, a lot of these games are going to look like preseason. And I watched that game since it was the first one. It had that preseason feel to it. I don't think 6-3 is an indication of how the game went. It was a sloppy game. Dave nails it right on as far as Jari goes. When you've got basically almost like a 1-in-1A type of situation where you're being challenged for that starting position, you seem to play better. He's now got everything fully on his shoulders, and it kind of looked like he didn't play well at all. I would have to think that they're going to bounce back from this. You look at, if you look at sort of statistical numbers of like how does Jari bounce back after a loss, it's tough to say, and I'll tell you why. His record is only 5-4, but that's not a true indication because last year he split his time with Matt Murray, so it's not like he was in there each and every game, kind of like a Binnington who had a very good record off a loss. Or a Hart. So as far as this game goes, I tend to think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And, with good teams that play each other 2 in a row, like we're going to see with Colorado and St. Louis, and we saw it last night with Edmonton and Vancouver, I have to believe that we see some fight back from the Penguins today. So I'm leaning Pittsburgh here.
Good stuff there from Carmine, Bianco, and Dave Cokin. Now time for our next segment here, the marquee matchup of the night. The Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues go head-to-head. The Avalanche, tough one for them in their first game. The Blues take care of business 4-1 and what seemed to be a pretty easy, casual, smooth-sailing victory for them. Both these teams, very talented, expected to be at the top of their division. I expect the Avalanche to bounce back here, guys, but I'm not too sure I'm a fan of the price. If I'm playing this, it's puck line or nothing. I'm not going to lay this number here with an Avalanche team coming off that loss. Also, as far as the prop goes, I will be playing Nathan McKinnon over 1.5 points. Connor McDavid didn't score a goal in his first game, came back, scored 3 goals in his second game. Nathan McKinnon, not the best first game. I expect him to come back out, be very hungry for game 2. Carmine, we'll go to you here first this time. This is the second time these two teams have met on this young season. Does anything change here for you?
I have to believe so. This is going to be a reoccurring theme all year on Puck Time about teams facing each other again in a short span. They dropped the opener 4-1. When you look at the numbers within that game, and if you watch the game, listen, Binnington played well, but they didn't get a lot of pucks at him. I think they had 22 shots on net. Maybe they kept everything to the outside. But the stat that really stands out to me is that line of Landeskog, Sad, and Kadri. They were -10 combined in that game. They completely outplayed. I think Landeskog was, I believe, -3. Sad was -3. Kadri -4. Everyone else on that Colorado team played well. With that said, listen, like I said, St. Louis did a very good job of keeping that front of the net empty, not a lot of pucks to the net. Colorado's got to be a lot better tonight. And much like the Oilers were last night, where we expected them to bounce back in a big way, I think Colorado does the same here today. -140, -150 seems like a lot to lay in this. I wouldn't want to go higher than the -150. So if you can get it at 140, I would take it.
Dave, would you agree with me in the sense that this matchup here alone is mainly battle tested as far as the depth goes, the secondary scoring goes? They're so talented up front, but it seems like the Blues won that secondary scoring battle.
Well, I want to talk about the Blues for a moment because I don't think they're being priced correctly. Now, look, I'm not arguing against the Avalanche coming back and winning the back end of this 2-game series. We're going to see how these play out early in the season to get a gauge on what the right prices are and how to bet them. But St. Louis won the Stanley Cup 2 seasons ago now. Last year, they were the number 1 team in the league when the break came. They just came out of that. They came out of it stale. And I think that's a short-term thing to me, what took place in the bubble, that's now being overly reflected in the price. To me, and I'm not taking the Blues tonight, but I can tell you this, there is no way, and I know Tarasenko's out, and so it's not quite the same team, but there's no way I'm laying $1.40 or $1.50 against this team with anybody. They're too good to be getting that kind of a price. Now, I think the Avalanche might bounce back tonight, but to me, you have to factor price into every bet you make, whether it's point spread or money line. And to me, you're paying a ridiculous premium here. The Avalanche are very good, maybe being thought of as being a little better than they are. I mean, I think they're an outstanding team, but there's so many people who think they're going to win the Cup, and I have my doubts about that. Number one, I'm not crazy about their goaltending. Number two, their defense. Their 4 lines, I won't argue against. They're rolling out the 4 best lines in the league in terms of quality up front, but they're kind of small on defense, and I think that's with shaky goaltending. This team might not be the best defensive stalwart squad in the league. The value here to me is on the Blues. I don't like the situation, so I won't play it. But so that's a long way of saying nothing on this game. But I think you can see where I'm going as far as the future goes with the Blues and maybe the Avalanche as well. I think the Avalanche are going to be overpriced.
I don't think that was nothing at all, Dave. I think that's very insightful, and I couldn't agree more with that information. And like you said, as this season progresses, we're going to learn more and more about how they're going to price these second games. A lot of guys in our live chat room here on YouTube are liking the Penguins to bounce back. So interesting to see how people are thinking about these bounce back situations. Our next game up is our line mover of the day. It is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are heading to Ottawa to take on the Ottawa Senators. Right now, this line is just been up and down, moving left and right, side to side. And the way I think about it is an angle that I'm going to continuously bet on, whether it's this unique season or any other season in the NHL, guys. Betting on the team that has played a game already versus a team that has not played a game already. Toronto Maple Leafs, such a talented team. Ottawa has a lot of youth, a lot of great upfront talent. They've got some aggressiveness on their third and fourth line. But Dave, I just don't think that Ottawa is going to be able to compete here. We saw a lot of slow starts for these teams, no preseason, slow training camp. I know Ottawa had extra time to practice, but I really do think it's a really, really big factor here that the Leafs have already played a really big game, went to overtime, means a hell of a lot to me.
Yeah, good win for Toronto, coming back in that game, getting the overtime win. I know it's only the second game of the season, so you wouldn't think it's possible, but is there a possibility they have a letdown coming out of that win? I mean, you talk about that was the big game on night one, Toronto and Montreal, at a original 6 awesome rivalry, and now they're facing the lowly Senators, who are not going to be a playoff team. I don't know if Toronto's intensity will be there tonight. Now that doesn't mean I like Ottawa, because the Senators are they're going to be bad. But the one thing I do think you're going to see out of the Senators this year, it'll be interesting to see where the totals are on their games, because I think this is a team that's going to play wide open hockey. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're not going to win a lot, but they're going to score some goals, and they're going to give up a lot of goals. 6.5, good number by the odds makers, and the over is favored in the game, so that's not going to be on my card. But I think there's a good chance to get 7 or 8 goals in this game. I think the Senators, if nothing else, are going to be highly entertaining to watch all season.
Carmine, Dave mentions that this team's going to struggle a little bit on the season. They're projected by every single expert analyst to come dead last in their division. They have some talent with Drake Batherson. They pick up Derek Stepan. They got Tim Stützle now. They have some talent, but Carmine, can they compete in this game?
Yeah, they're a team that, everyone says, okay, we need to be patient with our young talent. And, if you look at their young talent, they're guys that are in their 22, 23, 24. Those are kind of prime years for players. So you don't really want to be patient on that. Listen, I've watched, obviously up here, it's always the Leafs on TV. I'm not a great fan of that, which is why I picked up the NHL Network. But each and every season, the Leafs and Ottawa play early on in the season, the first couple of games. And listen, you look at some of these games, Ottawa, listen, the teams have been bad for Ottawa the last 2-3 years, and the Leafs teams have been stacked. And you look at these scores, 6-3 Ottawa, 5-3 Ottawa, and then last year, 5-3 Toronto. So Ottawa really gets fired up to play these Leafs. It's a rivalry, much like the Toronto-Montreal one is. So you have to put some stock in it. While we expect Ottawa to finish near the bottom of the standings and the Leafs obviously to be near the top of the standings, it means nothing in a single game situation where a team is pumped. I do believe the one game the Leafs have under the belts absolutely helps them. So if you're looking at Toronto, and this is, I think, something that, and then maybe Cokin can chime in on this, that he has done a lot of times, is you can turn this into a Toronto -1 game by taking the Leafs, splitting your bet on a money line bet on the Leafs and the puck line bet on the Leafs. And that literally turns this game into a Toronto -1 with very minimal juice. So it's a much better than laying the $2.40 or 30 cents that it's at right now. So I would, if I had to lean somewhere, that'd probably be the way to go.
And a point that you made, Carmine, is one that I really wanted to touch on, not only just about splitting the bets, but about being a physical game and the rivalries, because one important factor to betting money lines or totals is the expectancy of the game flow. Dave mentions it's going to be very wide open. Carmine mentions it's going to be very aggressive and could be very tight in that aspect. That means penalties. Penalties means power plays. Power plays translates into goals. And rivalries, a lot of the time, do mean power plays. So if you're betting totals, definitely something to watch out for. How many penalties teams are taking, how their power play percentage works, and things of that nature. And also, with the Leafs here in this spot, I talked about it with Dave a lot on our baseball show. If you don't like the price and the money line, if you don't like the puck line price, play the team total. This team can score. You don't have to worry about what the other team is doing. I like that angle quite a bit here when you're handicapping really strong teams, but weak teams defensively. Our heavy favorite of the day, guys, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the Chicago Blackhawks. Boy, oh boy, Carm, this Blackhawks team looks rough. Not just rough, but bad. That game was just tough to watch. I had the under on that game, so I tuned in for the third period just to hope there wouldn't be too many garbage time goals. But what are your thoughts on this one? We're obviously not going to lay the -275, but would you look at the puck line here in this one? Does anything change from game 1 to game 2?
I'm not sure if anything changes. Tampa is still a very good team, and in Chicago is still a very bad team. You look at that game, and again, in going to the puck line, number one is I never like to lay any juice with a puck line. I just don't think it's a smart idea long term, laying a goal and a half and having to lay juice on top of it as well too. With that said, I know the Prez gave the Tampa what, like -3 on a Twitter video and stuff, but to me, it's Tampa here, and you'll see it in the free plays. I'm not going to lay that juice. When we do our best bet feature at the end, you'll see I've included Tampa in a 2-team parlay with the Leafs, and taking those two, you literally turn it into a -105 wager on a 2-teamer and get rid of that 280 and the 230 juice on these two teams. These are two teams. I actually think I'm surprised that the total stayed under 6.5, especially the way the game started, but it did. And I think we talked about that total probably being a little high at 6.5, and even with it being a blowout. But there's not much I can offer here other than to say I expect Tampa to win. I'm not going to play them at 280, and I'm not going to touch the puck line.
Yeah, Dave, on the NBA show there with Joe Ranieri, they've been doing the contrarian play of the day, fading the public, fading where all the money is going on, and seeing if they want to go on the other side here. It's a bit different with the NHL, obviously being a money line sport, but we're going to hopefully find some dogs. But in this instance alone, Dave, is this one that you look to bet on?
Not a chance. No, I mean, I'm not laying this kind of price. I would say that Carmine has a good idea in terms of if you want to play Tampa, how to do it. The Blackhawks are the worst team in the league. They're horrible. The goaltending, they might be the worst goaltending team I've ever seen in the NHL. I mean, Malcolm Subban's your starter. Wow. There's nothing else to say. They're going to trade Patrick Kane for the best package available. I think that's an inevitability. And look, they sent a letter out to their whatever the season ticket base or whatever, and said we're going into a rebuild. So that tells you where they are. And they weren't bullshitting. Okay, they have to go into a rebuild. It was nice that they snuck into the playoffs with that goofy format they had last year, because otherwise they wouldn't have made it. And that's the last time the Blackhawks is going to see the playoffs for a little while. This is an awful team.
Dave, you know what that reminds me of? I don't want to get too off topic, but that reminds me of when you and I were doing the KBO show during the lockdown, and the last place team sent a letter to their entire fan base after they lost like 14 of 15 games. So it's a good point that you bring up, because it's almost like they've accepted the fact that they are not going in a good direction. You mentioned their goaltending, their defense is not good. So we're going to find some underdog spots, guys. Don't worry, we will find some for you, but we're mentioning this Lightning team as the favorite of the day, and it sounds like a very consensus that we definitely would not be playing the dog in this game. Also, first period spread. Tampa Bay has been known to get off to a great start in their game, so you can probably get better odds on that as well. We'll move into our last segment here, Totals Talk. We're talking totals. The Washington Capitals, Buffalo Sabres. Taylor Hall gets his first goal in a Buffalo Sabres uniform. Just took him one game, but that was not enough for them. The Capitals get the job done in pretty smooth fashion, high-scoring fashion. Carmine, Bianco, I'll go to you. This was my best bet yesterday on the show. I don't really see why we don't go back to another high-scoring game.
I can give you a couple points on maybe why you want to maybe avoid another high-scoring game. I wanted to give this play out to my clients yesterday, but a lot of coaches, for some reason, are taking the approach that they're not naming their starters until later in the day, so you don't get that information out there as much. Because if I knew Carter Hutton was starting for the Sabres, I would have probably been all over the over and on Washington. He wasn't a very good goalie last year. He struggled at times. At one point, he lost 13 games in a row, and I think he probably built an extension on Cokin's mansion with Dave taking any team playing against the Sabres with Hutton in there. I was surprised Kruger didn't start Linus Ullmark, but he's now talked about he's going to rotate these two goalies initially early on. So it's Ullmark in net tonight. And I would think a lower scoring game. I'm not saying one of those 3-1 type games, but I think it could actually stay under. The original total was 6.5, and then it dropped to 6. I kind of missed out on the 6.5, or I would have taken the under 6.5, but I'm still going to take the under 6 here with these two teams. We saw 10 goals. It wasn't a game that looked like 10 goals would be scored. There was a couple times where there was some sort of quick succession goals. Sabres scored 30 seconds later. Washington scored. Sabres got one late, empty net goal. So it didn't really look like a 10-goal game. That when you factor in, there was probably 54 shots on goal total in that game. So with Allmark in it tonight, I think they'll be a little bit better. I'll go with the under here.
Same here. I lean to the under. I think you're going to see a lot of zigzags on these 2-game sets, where the first game goes over, the second game goes under, and the reverse. First game goes under, second game might go over. But I have a tendency to think you'll have more unders in game 2 than overs, because the team that loses is really going to want to tighten things up. And look, it's Allmark rather than Hutton. Carmine is absolutely on target. Hutton was an auto fade, literally an auto fade for me last year. If he got announced as a starter, I played opposite the Sabres, and that worked out pretty well. It should be Allmark tonight. I'll lean with Carmine to the under.
It's interesting because Dave touched on the fact of the money line, how the price is going to be for teams in the second game of a set. How about the totals, guys? Because we saw with Vancouver and Edmonton, that one flew over the total in game 1. It had potential to have many more goals than they ended up with. And then this same total at 6, game 2 goes over again. We see a high-scoring game, talent-filled game with these two clubs, the exact same total set for game number 2. So, Dave, as far as your whole zigzag, I agree with that. I believe that that's going to be how it will be early in the season, and then later in the season, quite the opposite. I think later in the season, the first game's lower scoring, a little bit of fatigue sets in, then the second game, we'll see some overs. But early in the season, I couldn't agree more. More wide open for game 1. Game 2 is, hey, we got to, buckle down defensively and play better defensively. We'll get into our best bet segment. I want to go to you first, Carmine, and ask you first and foremost what you have up for the entire weekend here at WagerTalk.com for your clients, and give us the best bet here for the show.
All right. Well, as I said, I have three games in NHL tonight. A couple afternoon soccer games. Obviously, NFL card, a 2-pack or a 3-pack up, and a 5% play. Again, 19-5 NFL run, so we're going pretty good there. Probably a good time to take that advantage of it and grab that 3-day all access package, because you literally get everything, and the 5% play itself is $40. So I think it's $49, I believe, or $69 for the 3-day all access. Pretty good deal to get every single play. And we will have NHL Saturday and Sunday, of course. So there's a ton of action up ahead. Oh, as far as the best bet, sorry, I might as well mention that as well too. The best bet as far as for the show is, I mentioned it earlier, the Tampa Bay Toronto money line parlay. By taking both of them, you literally knock it down to a 2-team parlay at minus 105 odds, which isn't too bad with 2 big money line favorites.
Mr. Cokin, what's going on for you this weekend?
Well, we'll find out. Right now, I have 1 game posted for tonight, a college basketball best bet. And again, on a 10-1 run with those, so it's been really good. There is a special still going on. It's, I believe, available through Sunday. WagerTalk decided to promote my birthday, my 68th birthday, which was Wednesday. And you get 10 days all access, everything I've got across the board, 10 full days, $68. Just go to my page, wt.buzz/DC, click on that offer, use the code at checkout, Legend68. I didn't come up with that. They did, okay? Legend68, and you're in for that. And try and make some money. Best bet, Maple Leafs and Senators to go over the 6.5.
Good stuff there from Dave Cokin. And yes, happy belated birthday to Dave. Dave, you're looking about 20 years younger today, so I don't get,
right.
How you were complaining on your Cokin's Corner yesterday. Another year. Age is just a number. My best bet, I'm no carpenter. I'm not really good at fixing things, but if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. I'm going right back to it. Buffalo, and Washington over the 6. If it was a 6.5, maybe I'd be wondering, but the 6 here is far too tempting. The talent that these two teams have, what we saw, the pace, the flow, and also I talked about how important penalties and power play percentage is when you're betting totals. I can guarantee you these two teams are going to be duking it out. There's going to be hard hits, lots of power plays for both these teams, and they will both have great power play percentages on the season. So my best bet is going to be, once again, like yesterday, the Capitals and Sabres to go over their total of 6. For this weekend, I'm on an 8-0 run in the UFC. I have a 4% play up in the UFC. And of course, my 5% NHL play tonight. Use that coupon code PUCK15 to get $15 off my play. Guys, thank you so much for watching here on Puck Time. We are looking forward to doing this show for you guys Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. For Carmine, for Dave, I'm Andrew. We'll see you on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Right now, you can lock in 30 days of any NBA or college basketball plays, including 5% best bets released from your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper for just $6.63 per day. A 30-day NBA pass is priced at $189 and a 30-day college basketball pass at $189. But you can get both for only $199. To take advantage of this special offer, just go to WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Choose your favorite handicapper and lock in all basketball action for the next 30 days. Even better, there's no limit to how many handicappers this offer can be redeemed on.